channel, or welcome back to my channel. My name is Andy Sometimes Mouse, and I talk about books and book-related things. And today I am giving you my December TBR, aka my Clear Your Shit Part 2 TBR, also the last TBR of the year. I'm filming this in September. Okay? I'm just going to disclaim that now. A couple of things, I talked about this a little bit in last month's TBR, which you can go watch and get the full spiel of it, so I'm gonna try not to get too far into it, but few disclaimers. One, I am gonna put the prompts down below here. If a prompt is related to the surprise prompts, because I wrote them, they are not a surprise for me, so I did already pick a book, but I will not be telling you what the surprise prompt is, just which thing I picked for it, like the weapon or strength. Two, I don't have a lot of owned unread books. This is just because I do this readathon, I simply do not have a lot of owned unread books. So I will be largely trying to finish as many unfinished series as I possibly can before the year ends, which is a bit of an undertaking and I am regretting it already. So that is what I'm reading for Clear Your Shit. And three, if a series that I am reading is in like the 10th book or the bajillionth book or the 4th book, I am not going to give you the summary because at that point the summary will inherently be a little bit of a spoiler, and I try to avoid that. In my TBRs. Not in my wrap-ups, but I do try to avoid it in my TBRs. So those are the disclaimers out of the way. Let's get this show on the road and let's start talking about the rest of my Clear Your Shit TBR. First up, we have Read a Book with a Red or Brown Cover. I will be reading The Joy Luck Club by Amy Tan. This has been on my TBR for ages, and I also think that there's a movie, but I think it was made in like the 90s. 4 mothers, 4 daughters, 4 families, whose histories shift with the 4 winds depending on who's telling the stories. In 1949, 4 Chinese women, recent immigrants to San Francisco, meet weekly to play mahjong and tell stories of what they left behind in China. United in loss and new hope for their daughters' futures, they call themselves the Joy Luck Club. Their daughters, who have never heard these stories, think their mother's advice is irrelevant to their modern American lives until their own inner crises reveal how much they've unknowingly inherited of their mother's pasts. This has been on my TBR for a really long time. I even think I vaguely remember being in middle school and wanting to read this, so kind of excited about that one. Next, we have Read a Book that was purchased locally or mentions shopping. This was purchased locally like a long time ago. I will be rereading The Space Between Worlds by Micaiah Johnson so that I can then read Those Beyond the Wall. Also, interestingly enough, I was setting up my husband's TBR for this because he'll be participating in Clear Your Shit for the first time, and I think I picked this for both of us, but for different prompts, because I just want him to read this book. There is multiverse travel exists, but you cannot visit a world in which your counterpart is still alive. Kara, her parallel selves are really, really good at dying, largely because they're poor, etc. She has survived on this one specific Earth specifically, and works for the wealthy and the city, so that she can I just do various jobs, and there's a lot of things. It's sci-fi, it's really interesting. There's this underlying plot about why she keeps dying, and it's really interesting, and I remember enjoying it a lot, so I'm excited to read it, but I'm also interested to see like I don't remember what happens in this book other than that I loved it, so I'm interested to see what happens in the sequel, because from what I remember, I don't feel like there needed to be one, so I guess we'll see. Okay, hi y'all. If the lighting's different, it's because my camera battery died. Both of my camera batteries were charging, so I grabbed this third one that had been sitting in my car, and I guess this third one, something is wrong with it, so every time it would go to film, it wasn't writing to the camera. I don't know. But this has been a technical nightmare. I thought my camera was breaking and I was freaking out because that would have been a problem. Obviously I can film with my phone, but I don't have a tripod for my phone anymore, so it would have been very stressful. I'm gonna put this back here and play around with it later. Maybe let it drain. But we should be good now because I plugged my camera in. So we're on a battery that does work, and you guys are plugged into a power source, so it shouldn't die at any point. Let's try to finish this TBR, shall we? Okay. Next up, we have Free Space, which I will be reading Still Distracted After All These Years by Kathleen Nadeau. I will give the disclaimer that I struggle a little bit with adult ADHD books because they tend to feel infantilizing, so we'll see, but this has been on my TBR for a long time, and it talks about ADHD in our later years, and how it can create co-occurring issues like anxiety and depression and low self-esteem. And this book is just like coping mechanisms for a lot of that, so it'll be interesting. I have obviously my own coping mechanisms and such, but it offers strategies for building support systems and that kind of thing, and I don't know, that appeals to me. So we will see if I enjoy this book. We'll see. Next up, we have our Strengths mini boss, which I will not be telling you what the prompt is. I think the strength is called TBR Hero, maybe. Has less than 10 unread owned books. I don't remember what that's like called though. So whatever. I'll put it, editing me will put it here. I will be reading the next 2 books in the Witch graphic novel books. I think I'm on like 11 or 12 or something, like I don't know, a lot. I will be reading Witch Part 4, Trial of the Oracle Volume 1, and Witch Part 4, Trial of the Oracle Volume 2. This is a lot of books about these preteen teen girls, and they're being these like destined heroes of these 2 universes, so it's a lot, but I read them as a kid and watched the show as a kid, I think, so it'll be good. Next up, we have read a book outside of your normal intended audience picks: children's, middle grade, young adult, new adult, or adult. Now, I normally would have picked new adult for this because I don't read that genre predominantly, but I didn't have any books that would fit that. So I went with middle grade, although I don't have any, like I read at least 1 middle grade book a month, but I also read 1 adult and 1 young adult book a month at minimum. Like, so this is a little bit tricky for me to do, so here we are. But I'll be reading Among the Brave by Margaret Peterson Haddix, which is the 5th book in the Shadow Children series. It is a middle grade book, and it is about, overall the whole series is about this dystopian place where you can only have so many kids. However, people continue to have children and hide them, and it is about those hidden shadow children. This is the 5th book, so I'm not going to get into the details or it will spoil the series, and I don't want to do that for you. Next, we have a book that has a character you think or know you'll love or be obsessed with, and I will be rereading Cold the Night, Fast the Wolves by Meg Long in order to read Swift the Storm, Fierce the Flame. 17-year-old Seneca Horison, I don't know how to say her last name, hates the sled race, especially after it claimed both her mother's lives 5 years ago. Alone on her frozen planet, she makes money any way she can until she double-crosses a local gangster. Desperate to escape, Senna flees with a surprised fighting wolf, Iska, and takes an offer from a team of scientists. They'll pay her away off-world on one condition: that she uses the survival skills her mother's taught her to get them to the end of the race. But the tundra is a treacherous place. When the race threatens their lives at every turn, Senna must discover whether her abilities are enough to help them survive the wild, and whether she and Iska together are strong enough to get them out alive. As the girl and the wolf forge a tenuous bond and fight to escape ice goblins, giant bears, and the ruthless gang leader intent on trapping them both, one question drives them relentlessly forward: where do you turn when there is nowhere to hide? I remember enjoying the pacing of this book a lot, and just in general enjoying this a lot, so it'll be good. Next prompt is book with a character you want to fight personally. I'll be rereading Witches Steeped in Gold by Sienna Smart in order to read Empress Crowned in Red. I remember disliking a character in this book, but I don't remember a lot more than that. I actually think I unhauled this book, but I don't know if I actually successfully did or if it's sitting in a closet somewhere. Unknown. Araya has spent her life in a cell, but every day brings her closer to freedom and vengeance. Jasmine is the queen's daughter, but unlike her sister before her, she has no intentions of dying to strengthen her mother's power. Sworn enemies, these 2 witches enter a precarious alliance to take down a mutual threat. But power is intoxicating, revenge is a bloody pursuit, and nothing is certain except the lengths they will go to win this game. Next up, for a book with a mother-like character, I will be reading Backpacking Through Bedlam by Shauna Maguire. This is Encrypted Book 12, and it is almost the last book. There are 13 books, so I'm not going to get into the details of that one, because that would be a lot of information. Then we have a book that finishes or starts a series. I will be rereading Daughter of the Moon Goddess by Su Lin Tan in order to read Heart of a Sun Warrior. Growing up on the moon, Yin is accustomed to solitude, unaware that she is being hidden from the feared celestial emperor who exiled her mother for stealing his elixir of immortality. But when her magic flares and her existence is discovered, she's forced to flee her home, leaving her mother behind. Alone, powerless, and afraid, she makes her way to the Celestial Kingdom, a land of wonder and secrets. Disguising her identity, she seizes an opportunity to learn alongside the Emperor's son, mastering archery and magic, even as passion flames between her and the prince. To save her mother, she embarks on a perilous quest, confronting legendary creatures and vicious enemies across the earth and skies. But when treachery looms and forbidden magic threatens the kingdom, she must challenge the ruthless celestial warrior for her dream, striking a dangerous bargain in which she is torn from losing all she loves or plunging the realm into chaos. I remember liking this book, but I don't remember why. So, which is another prompt. So that's like a previous prompt. So that's fun. Next up, we have someone pick a book for you to read, and I will be reading one of my coworkers' favorite books, and that is Catch-22 by Joseph Heller. This is a classic book. A lot of people have read it and enjoyed it. I think there's a movie. I think I should be reading it with my eyes, but I'm going to try switching between eyes and audiobook for this one, because I am reading a lot of books in the next 2 months. Set in Italy during World War II, this is the story of the incomparable, malingering bombardier Yossarian, a hero who is furious because thousands of people he has never met are trying to kill him. But his real problem is not the enemy, it is his own army, which keeps increasing the number of missions the men must fly to complete their service. Yet, if Yossarian makes any attempt to excuse himself from the perilous missions he's assigned, he'll be in violation of Catch-22, a hilariously sinister bureaucratic rule. A man is considered insane if he willingly continues to fly dangerous combat missions, but if he makes a formal request to be removed from duty, he is proven sane and therefore ineligible to be relieved. Because it's a Catch-22. Did the saying come first? Or did the book come first? I don't know. But that's what I'll be reading for that one. Next up, we have Free Space, in which I will be reading Goddess and the Machine by Laura Beth Johnson. This is a reread in order to read Devil in the Device, the sequel, and I think it's just a duology. I hope it's just a duology. Please just be a duology. Anyway. When Andra wakes up, she's drowning. Not only that, but she's in a hot, dirty cave. It is the year 3102, and everyone keeps calling her Goddess. I don't think I would complain personally. When Andra went into a psionic sleep for a trip across the galaxy, she expected to wake up in 100 years, not 1,000. Worst of all, the rest of the colonists, including her family and friends, are dead. They died centuries ago, and for some reason their descendants think Andra is a deity. She knows she's nothing special, but she'll play along if it means she can figure out why she was left in stasis and how to get back to Earth. Zaid, the exiled bastard prince of a place that I'm not even going to try to say, has other plans. 4 years ago, the sleeping goddess's glass coffin disappeared from the palace, and Zaid devoted himself to finding it. Now he's hoping the goddess will be the key to taking his rightful place on the throne. If he can get her to play her part, that is. Because if his people realize she doesn't actually have the power to save their dying planet, they'll kill her. With a vicious monarch on the throne and a city tearing apart at the seams, Zaid and Andra might never be able to unlock the mystery of her fate, let alone find a way to unseat the king, especially if Zaid hasn't been exactly forthcoming with Andra. And 1,000 years from home, is there any way of knowing the Earth is better than the planet she's woken to? I will say, I think I didn't like this because of the romance in it. And I have gotten less prissy about that, so we'll see if I like it better now. No promises, but and last but not least, the very last prompt of the year for me. Thank fuck. I will be, for boss battle weapons, I am picking Cast Iron Skillet, and I will be reading Winter's Orbit, rereading Winter's Orbit by Everina Maxwell in order to read Ocean's Echo. When the Iskat Empire has long dominated the system through treaties and political alliances, several planets, including Thea, have begun to chafe under Iskat's rule. When tragedy befalls Imperial Prince Tam, his Thean widower Jainan is rushed into an arranged marriage with Tam's cousin, the disreputable Kiem. These names are so hard to say, I'm so sorry. In a bid to keep the rising hostilities between the two worlds under control. But when it comes to light that Prince Tam's death may not have been an accident, and then that Jainan? I don't know. Himself may be a suspect, the unlikely pair must overcome their misgivings and learn to trust one another as they navigate the perils of the Iskat court, try to solve a murder, and prevent an interplanetary war. That's too much to do, all while dealing with their growing feelings for each other. I think I had really mixed feelings about this book as well, but I don't remember why, so that will be fun. We will see. But that is the TBR for Clear Your Shit, Part 2. And the whole thing. whole shebang. It is still wild to me that I have been doing Clear Your Shit for 5 years, that this will be the 5th year, and that you guys continue to participate and enjoy it. I appreciate it a lot. If you are participating in Clear Your Shit this year, let me know in the comments down below. If you've read any of these books, want to read any of these books, didn't know these books had series continuations, let me know. I'd love to hear about it. Let's talk about books with you. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe and share. I post videos every Tuesdays and Thursdays at 10 a.m. Central Standard Time, except for the first full week of the month. And that is it. I will talk to you guys later. Don't forget to take your meds, drink your water, and do something today to take care of yourselves, like reading books that you already fucking own. Okay, thanks, bye.